I know.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the broadcast. I'm Mike Quartararo, and please make welcome for my friend and co-host, Jeff Hirvela. This is Mind Matter, breaking silence in legal spaces, brought to you by ACEDS. This is a space where we share real stories and talk openly about physical and mental well-being, addiction, recovery, grief, and, of course, resources for dealing with all of the above. Jeff, how you feeling?
I'm doing good, Mike. Good to see you again. Good to be back. Second episode of the year, getting the momentum going. I like this is a good habit we're getting into, Mike, and I think that's going to come into our conversation later. But I like this habit of doing the Mind Matters with you on a monthly basis and the people we get to meet. Quick update for me. I celebrated 9 years of sobriety on Tuesday the 17th. So big
Congratulations.
milestone.
Congratulations. It's a big deal.
Got the confetti.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Thank you. And it's something that I share openly. Not everyone talks about like their sobriety or journey, but for me, if I found out about this from other people, I heard about success stories, I heard about trials and tribulations. Not everyone has a linear path in sobriety. So for me, I like sharing about it to let people know it's possible. And just kind of tying this into the themes of today, stopping the drinking was just one piece of sobriety for me. I had to figure out how to deal with life and the challenges and the day-to-day stuff in a different way. My crutch of using alcohol or drugs to feel better, to numb things out, to celebrate, to, grieve, whatever, that's gone. And life doesn't stop. Some of the more challenging things in my life happened after I stopped drinking. And so I had to develop new habits, and I work a 12-step program. It's not for everyone. It works for me. But through that, I have a new set of habits. I have a new mindset of helping others, of being of service. I have a community that I participate in and am involved with. But I also have daily habits that help me just on a regular basis, just like, waking up in the morning, having my coffee, having a spiritual moment to myself, doing some meditation, kind of putting my, as we call it, putting my spiritual armor on for the day. Because once I start looking at emails, all bets are off. It gets chaotic and stressful from the start.
Time to grind.
In our industry, in our line of work, we don't get to just, turn it off. We have to deal with it in a different way. And so developing healthier habits, being mindful of how I show up and helping others as a dad, as a partner, as a coworker is very important. So big milestone, and glad to be here and celebrate and talk about it here. Mike, how are you?
I'm doing okay. It's a little bit of a weird time for me. It's been about 17 months since I lost my wife, and almost 2 years to the day since I had my big, heart health scare. On a plane on my way to the UF Law e-Discovery Conference, which I'm flying to on Monday. So a little bit of anxiety around that, which I think is normal. It's healthy. I think if you don't sort of reflect on things, you can easily forget, how you're supposed to be grounded and dealing with your stuff. And you said something that's really interesting to me, and that is that, the hardest times came after you got sober. And that's so interesting to me. I feel like what's happening there, I of course am not sober 9 years like you, and congratulations, by the way. I think that what's happening is you're kind of cleaning up the mess that you made, and that's why there's some tough times. But if you can get past those obstacles, those difficult conversations, those things that you need to do, whether you're working the program or doing something else, if you get past those, I think you find yourself exactly where you are. I've never seen you more clear-minded, more focused, more attentive, and I've never felt closer to you as a friend than in the years since you became sober, and that's what I'm grateful for. So a little bit less about me and more about you, but why don't we bring in our guests and get a real conversation going here?
Sounds good, Mike.
Hi, everyone.
So, hey, Gayle. Well, welcome to Gayle. I'll do a quick intro, and Mike can chime in too. I think, Mike, you've known Gayle a bit longer, but I've known Gayle for a little bit here, and really admire how forward and direct she is about how she has made changes in her life, how she's gone through her own journey with work, with life, with sobriety, with career, with everything. And as we were talking before, she's very open with everything as I am. And I think it's important because if we don't talk about it, then it just goes unsaid, and that's sad. And so I think looking forward to hearing a little bit about your past and your journey with everything in life. Mike, anything else?
No, I mean, I always just like to start with, and this is kind of cliche, Gayle, but like what made you change? What was your rock bottom, as they say? And maybe it wasn't a rock bottom for everybody. It's not. Maybe they just decide to make a change. How does your recovery story start?
Wow. It's not the first time I've had that question. Thanks for asking. Thanks for the invitation, both of you. I would say my rock bottom stretched over many years of me drinking my face off and alone. I drank a lot alone, but and in my own space and in my own head, I would hear myself berate myself constantly for not learning my lesson. Why am I drinking again? Why can't I stop? So I had that internal conversation. I used to say that I used to motivate myself with self-hatred to get things done. So I'd get pissed off enough at myself to actually do something about it. But in this case, it took many, many years. And I would go to the point where I would get myself drunk alone and scream out to myself so I could hear myself say out loud, I'm an alcoholic. And I felt so just disgusted. What really happened to finalize to really feel like my rock bottom was, I was drinking every day for many years. I wasn't to the point I was waking up and drinking at the bedside. And I had seen other people die from alcoholism, and I did not want that to happen. But one day I was in my living room, and I was probably drinking my fourth or fifth drink, and I would sneak drinks when my husband wasn't looking. So who knows how many drinks I actually had. I would take shots out of the freezer vodka when he wasn't looking. Insane. So I was standing there. I remember I couldn't stand up very well, and he was looking at me, and he said, I think you have a drinking problem. And I just felt it like it cut me through the air. And I will never forget that moment, because this might sound ridiculous, but I thought, oh my God, he can see me. like I was acting as if my actions didn't affect anyone, even though I knew they did, but that was the one moment. And when he said that, I knew that was probably the third time he actually told me. And it got me, I couldn't unhear that. So the next few days it was action time. So I decided to take it into my own hands, where I still didn't say I'm stopping, but I said, okay, I'm going to listen to my body. I was bloated. I was hungover every day. I was constantly either drunk or hungover. It wasn't working. So I decided to go the route of healing my body. So I found an acupuncturist. Chinese medicine was calling me. That's what called me. I did not want to join a 12-step program. I wasn't ready for that. But what I was ready for was, let me heal my body first, because this is out of whack. So over a year's time, I healed my body to a point where I was balanced everything out. I lost a little bit of weight. I felt really great. And the woman I was working with was helping me to cut down my drinking. So I went from 7 days a week to 5, 4, 6, 5, 4. I got down to 3 days a week. And she said, it's time to stop. And I had a moment. And she said, you have two choices. It was right before my 40th birthday. She said, you have two choices. You can go, and I was going to Mexico. She goes, you can go to Mexico. You can have the time of your life, drink margaritas on the beach, whatever. When you get back, you're done drinking. Or you can just say, let's do it now, and then go to your birthday in Mexico and be sober. And this was February 3rd, 9 years ago. So February 2nd, 9 years ago. And on her table 9 years ago, I said, let's just do it right now. And she said, really? And I said, I don't know any other way than to just rip it off like a Band-Aid. If I keep delaying this, it's just not going to happen. So that moment, that was February 2nd, 2017. That was my last day. I went out and had some wine. I had an appointment with a friend of mine who's an attorney. We went out and drank a bunch of wine, and I was like stealing cigarettes from strangers. And that was the last night that I drank or smoked anything. And the next morning I woke up hungover, and I said, here we go. And I white knuckled it for a while, but I really worked with her to help me manage a lot of it. So my path was through healing in that way, and add on a lot of other things, habits. We can talk about that too, but that's what initiated it for me and really had me going. So when I talk to people who are curious, I say, let's look at what's going on in your body. And that's for everything. Like, how is your body reacting to your life? Are you breaking out? Are you itchy? Do you have rashes? Are you swelling? Are you achy anywhere? Like, my joints hurt all the time. My knees hurt every day with my feet, my ankles, from all that, the booze I was just constantly drinking. But I thought there was something else wrong with me. It can't be the drinking, but that's what it was. Anyway, I could go on and on, but that's in a very quick nutshell, kind of the basics of what happened. And here we are, 9 years. I just had my 9-year anniversary too. So yeah.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Congratulations. Love sharing a birthday month with you. More confetti.
Yeah, I love it. Thanks.
And then I love the, just to kind of double back to the dichotomy of this, where in the using,
Mhm.
that it's such a visceral image of like yelling at yourself and like the negative self-talk. I was there. I tell people a lot. My last time that I drank, I was just screaming alone. Like, I didn't know why, but obviously I was also at that point where I was so upset with myself. Here I am again, all this negative self-talk, and then to listen to the body and to also just realize I can wait to do this, or I just do it now. Like, that's also, you have to have some desire. You have to have some like jumping off point. And that's, I think, what kind of defines a lot of us alcoholics, is that like, we know this is not the right way to be living. We know this is not healthy. Yeah. So I love that.
Yeah. Day after day, we punish ourselves and think that if I just, maybe it's at the bottom of this, whatever I'm doing, I'll just drink this, and then I'll know the answer. It's just the crazy circular logic. It doesn't, but it's the addiction. And until you break that habit and put in new habits and really stick to it. I mean, the discipline that I learned in sobriety has traveled into every other area of my life over these years. I would not be where I am right now without the constant dedication and focus to feeling better than I've ever felt, thinking better than I ever thought, having better friends. I mean, nothing wrong with the people that I used to talk to. I mean, I hope they're great, but it's just changing your environment, everything. So,
well, let's talk a little bit about that. Like, let's kind of dive into that. And so you worked with someone, the acupuncturist. You worked on kind of listening to your body. So these are some early steps you took, some early habits you started to form. What else did you develop over the time to maintain the sobriety?
So that's a question that I asked myself, because I was about 2.5 years sober, and I kind of took a look around and I said, what am I doing that's working? Because people keep asking me, first of all, I was like glowing, you look great, all the things. And I'm like, how am I maintaining this? Because I'm not doing a program. I don't have a sober coach or anything. I just was seeking it out myself. And so I said, let me just look at what I'm doing and see if I can put it on a chart, write it down. If it's something that I can put together in a cohesive package, I can share with other people. And because people were asking me what I was doing. So I sat down and I wrote down, okay, I did a meditation. I meditate all the time. It came through as like, this is a teaching of what I shifted was habits and how I was doing everything. Everything you do is a habit. Like it starts out as a chore. Like when you're a kid, you don't want to brush your teeth every day. Okay. Now it's a habit, when you first start, right now exercise for me is a habit. It's absolutely, I have to exercise every day. There's non-negotiables, right? So it starts out as like a chore and difficult, but once you start getting that muscle memory and the muscle memory in your mind and in your actual muscles to do the thing, then it starts to stick. So that I wrote down 5 things that came to me. So I just called them 5 habits. And then as I started teaching it, then something came up, and then there was a 6th one I added. And I'm like, okay, so now I'm teaching 6 habits. And this was over a couple of years. And then I got invited to speak on a stage in front of 300 women. And the woman said, the theme for this event is 7. And I'm like, I'll just add another habit. So now I'm at 7 habits. So I've got these like 7 habits, this list. And I didn't even realize the very famous book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, whatever. Everybody's got something. There's so many people I know that wrote books, just put it on the pile. But I'm sure it's great. But these are the habits that came up for me. The first one every time is I say, be true. You have to notice where in your life, in every instance, you're not telling the truth to yourself out loud. Even when we exaggerate, we're lying, so just to catch yourself every time that you say something that's even a little bit untrue. And if you're talking to somebody, I tell people to stop mid-sentence, start over, and say, you know what I actually mean is this. Because when you start doing that, and when you don't give yourself a pass ever, and when you start doing that, you're going to see all of these areas where you're telling these little, like, kind of untruths and big ones. But just aligning with that, it's going to change. It's going to change your trajectory and how you show up and how you speak to people and how you show up for yourself, especially because it's tied in with that conversation of negative self-talk, I believe, because that's not true. I'm not a piece of shit, like, I believe it or not, that was like my number one go-to. That's what I'm telling myself I am. So guess what I'm showing up in? If I tell myself something enough, I'm going to believe it on some level, and I'm going to present myself to everyone else in that way. Right. And we all know this as, we're working with people all the time. And if you're meeting strangers and you have this negative self-talk in the back of your mind or in your heart about yourself, you're going to project that whether or not you mean to. And people can tell. They might feel sorry for you. They might ask you, are you okay? So just to get through all of that, start telling yourself the truth. And you don't have to tell a perfect stranger, I don't feel really good about myself. But if that's your path to healing, do it. The morning ritual is huge for me. You mentioned, Jeff, about your, what do you call it? Your morning meditation with your coffee. What was that?
Yeah. Putting on the spiritual armor for the day.
That's great. I love that. Yeah. Spiritual armor. Yeah. Whatever your morning routine is, it's okay to call it a ritual if that resonates with you, but you can call it a routine also. But have something that you do every morning that nourishes you, that's for you, that's not looking at your phone. That's not looking at your phone. I'm just going to put that out there a few times.
I've got 2 questions I want to get to.
Go. I can talk all day.
And I want you both to answer because you're both in similar circumstances. So, but I'll start with you, Gayle. You mentioned, I think everybody, and Jeff has mentioned this to me privately, that so many people in your situations have suffered in silence, right? Yeah. I have those conversations with myself as well. But how do you ask for help, and who is my question? Because you don't just get to where you are today without some help, right? There's others. And so how do you know when to ask and to who to ask?
Well, those are 2 really good questions, Mike.
I know.
Suffering in silence.
I don't have any answers, but I got great questions.
That's where it all starts. That's a curious mind will find the answer. You will. Yeah. So, and you ask questions. So that's always where I say, be curious, ask questions. If you don't know where to go, you can ask yourself, that question. If, you can even put yourself in that position. If I were someone else, or if I were giving advice to my best friend, where would I suggest they go to get started? Okay. Because sometimes people have to take it off of themselves. And because a lot of us who are in this space of deep alcoholism or substance abuse, whatever, we are huge givers. We will give. So it's easier a lot of times to communicate with, to give yourself the permission to say, okay, what if this was for someone else? And you can visualize it a little bit better. And that will get you on the path. Okay, now if that someone else was you, follow that lead, and then you like that. But usually what I tell people is, if you're open to it, pay attention to what your body is telling you, and where you want to go. How much longer do you want to feel like this? And give yourself permission to ask questions like you just did. You don't have to have the answers. Ask questions. And if it's not for you, keep going. So one of my questions was, do I want to go to 12-step? And then what else is there? Let me do a search and see what else is out there. Are there any other groups that resonate with me? Let me do a search. So I did that. And I looked and I said, I'm just not really feeling comfortable to get in a group setting right now. I'm very vulnerable, and I'd rather work one-on-one with somebody. So that's where I went. And that's kind of where I ended up there. And I also felt like shit. And I'm like, it's gotta be, there must be something I'm eating that's wrong, or, maybe it's the whatever. So that's how, just stay curious and ask questions, and don't be worried about
who. Like, did you phone a friend? Did you call a sibling? Did you ask your mom? Like who, no. Like where? I'm sure there are people out there who are struggling with this question right now. Where do I go? What do I do? Who do I call?
Yeah. So, well, in the legal community, I know that there's a lawyer's assistance program that's very helpful for substance abuse, and it doesn't cost anything, and you can reach out to them. It's completely confidential, so that's a great start if you're in the legal industry and you want some anonymity and you want some guidance. You can go there. There's substance abuse hotlines if you feel like you want to go there. For me, I reached out. My husband was the person that I was bouncing all my stuff off of, because we were there together and we went through it together. I would say that if you are alone, if you live alone, there is someone in your life that you have to find someone in your life that you trust enough to try, and it's going to be yourself eventually, but you have to open up and be willing to I don't want to say like make a fool of yourself, because that's what it'll feel like I feel so embarrassed that I'm admitting anything to anyone. You don't have to give everybody, but you could even suggest, hey, can I tell you something I haven't? If you can get to a point and tell a friend or tell a coworker that you're close with or something like that. But again, that can open up a can of worms if it's at work. So if you're truly alone, I always suggest reaching out through, nobody's truly alone. They just feel like it. It's like the toll-free numbers can guide you, but it's an individual conversation. If it's going to be walk into a 12-step and go from there, then it's going to be that, because at least there's still the anonymity. You can walk in and say, this is for me, or this isn't for me, but it's a starting point. And just give yourself grace on those little tiny, it's a lot of tiny steps. It's a lot of really tiny steps. And then there's a lot of sidestepping, and sometimes you go backwards, but if you keep jumping in and going forward, it's a lot of tiny steps. So it's not the same answer for each person, I guess, is what I'm saying. It's different. Yeah. But you have to be open.
Yeah, I totally agree. And just adds a few other thoughts too. Being curious, there's an expression, I was granted the gift of desperation. Like I wanted something.
I feel that. Yeah.
I wanted something. Like that negative self-talk, telling myself I was a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Dude, double down on that for me. Like I wanted something and I was willing. I'm like, this clearly is not working. Like the things I'm doing are not working. I'm not on a winning streak right now. So I can, put the pride aside and just start asking. I also think that the universe conspires to put things in our path. I had a good buddy in the industry who showed me the way, and I never knew that he was going to be my guidepost, my North Star in this stuff until I was ready. I looked at him like, how do you do this sober? That's dumb. Like you can't do this job like that. But he turned into the inspiration and showed me it can be done. Right. And so like, just be get curious and like look at who's in your life and look at there's enough social media. There's all kinds of programs and stuff out there. You can figure it out, but like also just be open to people and like you're saying, Gayle, just be curious. Yeah.
That's the answer is people. And you just reminded me of one other thing, just really quick. Look for sober people in your life. Yeah. Everybody has at least one person they know that's sober, believe it or not, even if it's like the doorman at your building or whatever. Just start asking them questions. They're happy to talk to you, I promise.
Amen.
And I will attest, just in case anybody's curious, and for Jeff's own mental well-being, I've known him 15 years. Jeff, I've never seen you behave like a piece of shit. So, Gayle, I know you less long, and I've equally never. No, I understand.
It's an inside game. It's an inside.
It's everything. Yeah.
Here's my other question, really quick, and because I mean I struggle with addiction in my own ways. I still have not quit smoking. I know it's killing me. It's bad for me. I know I'm going to face the consequences at some point. Even at this point, it's almost like I'm going to have consequences whether I quit now or not, right? But you said something earlier, Gayle, that sort of resonated with me. Find better habits, right? Find clean habits. Is it really as simple as replacing a bad habit with a good habit? And isn't that in and of itself, can't that be somewhat treacherous? I could see myself, sucking on overloaded sugary lollipops instead of smoking, but that's probably not good for my diabetes.
Right. Yeah. Again, that's another one that's different for everyone. And it's a good question. I used to also smoke. I was almost 2 packs a day when I quit for the second time, and the first time, but heavy drinking does that. So with anything that you cut out it has an addictive quality that you're addictive to, you're like, and if you've been doing it a long time, you're likely going to have some kind of a recourse. You're going to have a detox period, and the detox period, usually lasts 72 hours or so. And it's gut-wrenchingly difficult. You're going to be sweating and all kinds of things. With cigarettes too, it's going to suck. If you've quit before, you just have to ask yourself is this something you really want to do? And if not, is smoking something that you can cut down to 1 or 2 a day? And would that be enough for you? And if it's out of the question, if you're questioning it, you probably want to quit. If this keeps coming up for you, it's something that your heart is telling you, physical heart, but I'm going to say your heart center, your gut, instinct also is telling you that this is something you don't feel really good about, that you would like to quit. So shifting it to something else, lollipops, I wouldn't agree with really, because hey,
I would make
the occasional lollipop, sure. The first time I quit, I chewed gum like I was on a mission. I don't think I stopped chewing. I chewed so much that my jaw muscles got huge. And I have pictures. I have this giant like muscle jaw because I was like, I was like in my early 30s. My sister goes, "What did you do?" I'm like, "Oh my God, I haven't stopped chewing gum in 2 weeks." Like I just couldn't stop chewing gum. But I'm like, whatever I got to do to just not smoke a cigarette, I'll do it. Anyway, so eventually I quit the gum. Okay. So my jaw is back to normal, but again, it's different for everyone. A lot of times people will go to food because it's the hand to mouth thing. There's other, you can try hypnosis, you can try acupuncture, you can talk to other people who have quit and see what worked for them. But ultimately it's what you're guided to, what you're drawn to. And if you really want to or not, and if you're just kind of giving it to yourself, oh, what's the point? I might as well, is that because is that the addiction talking, or is that, do you really want to quit? So I would like to see you quit. My dad quit in his 60s. So it's not impossible.
Yeah, no, I get it.
But I think it would be helpful. Oh, go ahead, Mike.
No, I said it's on my list.
Yeah. Well, it'll be there until you're ready. That's it. Like
you have to be ready.
Like Jeff said, you have to be ready. You have to be. There's no question. You have to really want it. It's that desperation thing.
Yeah, and so smoking is really hard. Like from what I've heard, it's much harder than quitting drinking. And the drinking was a crutch. It was a way of coping and dealing with things I didn't want to. There is some element in smoking as well.
Yes.
It is a way to get a stimulus. It is a way to occupy yourself. It's a way to, basically not pay attention to the thing that's really bothering you. So I kind of want to steer real quick back to the 7 habits that we were starting to talk about and make sure we round out the list. We're kind of running towards the end of the program. So let's
I can just run down the list. I don't have to go. Yeah.
But and just a little bit of primer of like what those mean. I'm going to write them in the notes afterwards because I think it's really useful for people to see.
Absolutely.
But we got be true to yourself, and we have the morning ritual. Maybe just run through the rest of them real quick.
Yeah. The third one was practice gratitude, because I noticed that when I was actually diving into the energy of gratitude and just feeling grateful for the things around me, I took it down to like the most basic stuff. Like, man, I'm so grateful that my heat works. I'm so grateful that there's, running water, like little things. I'm so grateful for this, the ability to, get up and go to work every day. Both my legs work, like little things, and really feeling the gratitude of those. And then I would just kind of build on it, but it made such a difference in my energy. Because when you start to believe it, as it's a habit.
Yes.
Moving your body is the fourth one. It's so important to get out for a walk, exercise, stretch, squats, just dance, but do it consistently. Like, just make it part of your morning ritual, morning thing, if that's what works for you. The fifth one was, at first I was calling it like, what do you want? But I turned it to tune into your desires. Like, take time and sit with yourself in silence and ask yourself, what do I really want in my life, for the world? What do I really want? Because a lot of times we put ourselves on the second shelf. A lot of women I know, men too, but when we are givers, especially, we put ourselves on the back burner, right? We're here for everybody else. Well, what is it that I want? And I'm not selfish for wanting something. Okay. And just like, do I, and the list will form. You'll think of like the material things, but what do you want that's not material? What else do you want? What do you want for yourself? For me, and with the alcoholism, I wanted to think clearly. I wanted to not be confused anymore. It was a lot of things, but that is a consistent practice, because it changes. We change, create accountability. So this is important to have somebody in your life that is helping you stay accountable, a friend, a 12-step program. You sign up to do a series of webinars with people who are holding you accountable, whatever it is, especially to get going, to have some kind of accountability. For me, again, I went through my sobriety with my husband was there with me doing it. And he was there seeing it. I have this weird internal drive, though. I'll do what I say I'm going to do. So I don't know. The last thing on my list was take consistent action, because if you're not consistent, nothing's going to happen. It'll happen maybe for a minute, or you'll see a glimpse. But the truth is, if you don't do it consistently every other day, every single day, nothing's going to shift. And that's where you really build the resilience and see what you're made out of.
Yeah. Thanks so much for sharing, Tori, for sharing your ideas for the 7 action items that we can all take. Jeff, we should put together some kind of written summary, and we could probably do that together. We're towards the end of our program. Jeff, how do you want to close this out?
After just going through all that, so many thoughts, but
I know.
To kind of wrap it up, I think use Gayle, use myself, use Mike as resources. Like, if any of this resonates, ask questions. I'll put like Mike said, we'll put this together, and Gayle, you'll help us put it together and put it out there, and try it out. Like, try one thing. You don't have to do all 7. That's the aspiration, but like, just try something different. That's the first step. Wanting to change. And you talk about the self-will, you're good with accountability, because you're like, if you say you do something, you're going to do something. I think a lot of us have that in recovery.
Yeah.
We were very self-willed when we were using, and we were very self-willed in our recovery after. But that can be a power, right? And that can be used to do good things and form good habits for yourself. And through those, help those in your life too. So, so many different directions we could go, but just grateful for just this amazing conversation, Gayle.
Yeah, thank you.
Mike,
thanks for having me. This was fun.
Yeah.
All right, we're at time. I was struck mostly by how applicable the 7 things could be in almost every area of your life.
Yes.
In business, in recovery, in grief, all of those things, when you
Yeah.
act intentionally and I think authentically, the answers begin to emerge. And I think that's what where we're really coming from here. We always close out with a little saying. I will start. Everyone, you are not alone. Let's keep showing up for each other. Jeff?
Yeah, thank you everyone for joining us one step at a time on this journey.
Thanks, everyone. See you next time.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Gayle. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.